Well, hey all, Farmer Jesse here. Today, I don't know, it's raining outside. I'm kind of planning on taking it easy. I feel like occasionally a farmer deserves that. And anyway, I thought I'd take this opportunity to reflect on the season, to talk about some of the things that went well for us and some of the things that went, what's the opposite of well? I feel like it's a cuss word. Not so well for us. Anyway, we'll do 5 of each. 5 good, 5 bad. What do you say? Let's do it. So this year we kind of transitioned our garden into a no-till system from sort of a minimal tillage system. And with that, we've had some successes. We've had some things that went really well for us, and then we've had some things that didn't go so well. Some of the things that went well, carrots. We did a video earlier about no-till carrots. They went pretty, once we kind of dialed in the seeding issue, which is really just that under that deep mulch, it's hard to seed the carrots. Once we got that dialed in, then we didn't really have so much of an issue with germination or, even just getting them out of the soil. There have been a couple places where it's a little bit denser that we've had to use the broad fork, but for the most part, carrots went really well for us. So let's pair that one with a failure. This one wasn't no-till. This is before we transitioned. We got all this stuff in there. Tomatoes. I mean, tomatoes were by no means a failure. We had a really good tomato season. It just wasn't really long. And part of the reason for that, early blight. It's kind of funny. Early blight, actually wrote an article for Growing for Market in the winter time about how to avoid early blight. And guess what? I didn't do very well. So anyway, that was kind of a failure. Our tomatoes kind of crapped out early, and even in our tunnel, we got that blight kind of spread, and that's probably my fault, just not using good, hand sanitation practices, or, just eventually those things are gonna blow over to the tunnels, and that's how it goes. Lesson learned, gonna do better next year. It's a foliar pathogen, so if you can keep it off the leaves, you can keep it off the plant. So, all right, definitely need a success after that. One success that was probably our best crop of the year, summer lettuce. We've had lettuce pretty much every week since April, and we even did a video about how to do summer lettuce, but it exceeded expectations. We had a really good lettuce season. We continue to have a really good lettuce season. We're hoping to go all the way until April. So that feels like a success. I feel good about that one. Another failure, baby greens. Lots of things went wrong with the baby greens. Part of it is I don't really want to use fungicides to kind of keep the fungal issues that you get here in the middle of the summertime here in the south. Can you have over 100%? That's how much humidity I feel like we have, is like 110, maybe 125. So all the tender greens, your arugula and your kales and all those things that work really well for baby greens did not work at all for us. That's part of it. Part of it was the seeding, and the deep mulch was a little bit difficult. We have a 4-row pinpoint seeder. I may have to boost up to a 6-row pinpoint seeder. Just little things. I may keep trying with the baby greens, but that definitely was a big lesson for us in the no-till transition, was that they're not going to do as well on that deep mulch. They're going to do better maybe on a thinner mulch or when the compost has better texture. Fall Napa cabbage has been a massive success. Beautiful, put it into no-till beds, just basically just pulled out the melons that were in front of it, pulled up the landscape fabric that we had there, and put down some compost and put the transplants of the Napa cabbage in, and they have done amazing. But let's pair that with a similar failure, the rest of our fall brassicas. Not a failure, just not going very well. This one really sucks. The pest pressure on our fall brassicas has been unbelievable. It sucks. Usually we'll have a harlequin beetle issue maybe, or we'll have cabbage loopers or something, like one or the other. Maybe we'll get hit with flea beetles early on. It was all of them all the time. So maybe part of that is because we put those in the ground so early. We got them in about 2 or 3 weeks earlier than usual. I'm talking about Brussels sprouts and broccoli, and cauliflower's doing okay, but the Brussels sprouts and broccoli, and even a little bit the kale and collards, are getting hit really bad with these pests. So maybe that's because we put them in a little early. Maybe that's because I'm just reluctant to use any sort of intervention. Even we're certified organic, so everything we use is either a biological or is like an insecticidal soap or something to that effect. So even those, I really try to minimize any amount of that we use. So that's maybe my fault. I don't want to battle pests with chemicals. I'd rather battle them with soil health. So that's kind of the direction that we're headed, is taking better care of our soil through the no-till system so that the plants have more of the phytonutrients they need to defend themselves. All right, so where are we at? Like 3 of each? Let's do 2 more successes. First one is beets. Specifically the beets that we did in our tunnel in the middle of the summer did really well. Part of that is that the plastic from the tunnel, what that does is what do you need, kitty cat? Kitty. Yeah. It keeps the sun from being a little bit too intense, allows the plant to sort of get established really well and grow really well. So it kind of acts not as a heating mechanism like a greenhouse does when it's closed, but like shade, because it blocks out just a little bit of that sunlight, just enough to let those beets kind of thrive. Now in that same family, the Swiss chard has not been awesome. Maybe it's bouncing back, maybe a little bit. Like I said this in an earlier video that I did about interplanting, that the chard, we tried to interplant it in the middle of the summer with some lettuce. And the idea being that we could get a crop of lettuce while the chard is not really growing. And that didn't really work. And the chard really hasn't bounced back from that. So that was kind of a failure. I have some more chard going. I don't know that it'll get established in time for me to have a winter chard. I regret doing it that way. That was a mistake. So one last success, and then we'll do one last failure. The one last success though, sweet potatoes. So we didn't do it in a no-till system. We had those in, kind of hilled up rows. Next year we will be doing it in a no-till system, which kind of makes me nervous because it was so successful this year. But I have faith in the no-till system. So just because there was a great, massive success so far this year, that I've got the best yields off our sweet potatoes that we've ever had, I'm gonna try something new next year because I'm an idiot. Because that's what I do. I'm whimsical and dumb. But it's for your entertainment. And because I love sweet potatoes and soil. It's just a complicated relationship. But really, I'm just really happy with the sweet potatoes this year. Because our last failure that I'll talk about, potatoes. Potatoes were awful. And another thing, this is a big thing with the potatoes that it has been with the brassicas, the fall brassicas, pests. Specifically, the pest was, for the potatoes, shockingly, Colorado potato beetle. Potatoes came up nicely, Colorado beetle took it over. And I think that part of that has to do with the soil prep. Again, even potatoes are going no-till. The whole garden will be no-till next year. So maybe the healthy soil that we're gonna form those beds after the sweet potatoes come out. We're gonna form beds and get those ready for regular potatoes, different families, not sharing crop family. Next year the potatoes will go in there, and we're hoping that maybe that soil health, that no-till approach, will give them a little bit of an advantage towards things like the potato beetle. If they're healthier, the beetles, the bugs, the caterpillars, all these things, they want to go after the weaker crop that are not getting the nutrients they need, that are not jumping as soon as they hit the soil. Once they get into the field, they have to jump. They have to be lively and vigorous. And if they don't, that's how you get pest issues. So really, in sum, what we really want to do with the no-till thing is increase our soil quality and increase the plant health so that they are able to defend themselves with the natural phytonutrients and just vigor that plants have when they grow in healthy soil. Anyway, I think that's good. Sometimes when I post these things, I don't want to be too positive. I don't want to only post successes, because when we only post successes, it sort of creates this environment where people feel bad about what they're doing. They don't feel like, when they have failures, that anybody else is having those same failures. Believe me, I am having the same failures you are. We all are. And I don't want, comparison to be the thief of joy. Yeah, and I'd like to hear both successes and failures. Share them, let me know. Otherwise, like this video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to go check out our Patreon page. That's alive and kicking. It's super cool. Trying to create a community over there, so go check it out. I'm kind of biased, but I think it's pretty awesome. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Wendell, do you like the remake?